बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम, अस्सलाम वालेकुम। मैं हूं डॉक्टर मुनव्वर हुसैन और आप देख रहे हैं पाकिस्तान और दुनिया। इलेक्शन का दौर रहा था पाकिस्तान का। नेशनल मीडिया और इंटरनेशनल मीडिया पाकिस्तान के इलेक्शंस के ऊपर उन्होंने ज़्यादा फोकस किया, लेकिन जो अहम दुनिया का मसला है और स्पेशली मुस्लिम उम्मा का, वो है फ़लस्तीन का मसला। 7 अक्टूबर से आज तक तकरीबन 5 माह हो चुके, जिसमें 30,000 फ़लस्तीनी शहीद हो चुके। गज़ा के इलाके में 10,000 मलबे के नीचे दबे हुए हैं, 70,000 से ज़ायद ज़ख्मी हैं। सवाल ये पैदा होता है कि इंटरनेशनल कम्युनिटी, मेजर पावर्स, इंटरनेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस क्या कर रहे हैं। किसी मुस्लिम मुल्क ने आईसीजी के अंदर केस को ले जाने की हिम्मत नहीं की, और ये नॉन मुस्लिम कंट्री साउथ अफ्रीका था जिसने हमेशा अपनी तारीख में नाम रकम करवाया, और लगता था कि नेल्सन मंडेला के फ़लसफ़े को वो आगे ले जाना चाहते हैं। इस मरहले के ऊपर हालांकि जो पब्लिक ओपिनियन है वो गज़ा की फ़ेवर में है, फ़लस्तीनियों की फ़ेवर में है, और वो इज़राइल के ऑक्यूपेशन को ख़त्म करवाना चाहते हैं। मिसाल के तौर पे अगर आप सर्वेज उठाएं, अमेरिका के अंदर 51% अमेरिकन यूथ बिलीव करती है कि इज़राइल को ख़त्म करके पूरे का पूरा कब्ज़ा फ़लस्तीनियों के हवाले किया जाए। हालांकि अमेरिका और इंटरनेशनल कम्युनिटी चाहते हैं कि जेनोसाइड कम हो, ह्यूमैनिटेरियन एड वहां तक पहुंचे, लेकिन नेतन्याहू हमेशा से इंटरनेशनल नॉर्म्स हो, इंटरनेशनल सिस्टम हो, इंटरनेशनल लॉ हो या विल ऑफ इंटरनेशनल कम्युनिटी हो, उसको डिफाई करता आ रहा है। यहां तक कि सोशल मीडिया के ऊपर एक वायरल वीडियो के मुताबिक प्राइम मिनिस्टर नेतन्याहू ने कहा कि मैं ईजिली मैनिपुलेट कर सकता हूं अमेरिकन्स को, और मुझे पता है कि मैं किस तरह से मैनिपुलेट करता हूं। इसी हवाले से अमेरिका के कुछ मीडिया ने वो आर्टिकल्स भी एक्सपोज किए जिसके अंदर किस तरह से अमेरिकन कांग्रेसमैन, अमेरिकन की फिगर्स और अमेरिकन प्रेसिडेंट्स को ब्लैकमेल किया जाता रहा। बहरहाल इस सारी तफसीलात को मालूम करने के लिए असल स्टेटस क्या है, आज इस मौजू को ज़हर बहस लाने के लिए और इसमें असल हकीकत को जानने के लिए कि उनके साथ कौन कौन से ममालिक कोऑपरेट कर रहे हैं और उनकी अंदर नोयत क्या है, आज हमने फ़लस्तीन की एम्बेसी से उनके नायब सफ़ीर को एज अ गेस्ट लिया है, जिनका नाम है नादिर अल तुर्क साहब। नादिर अल तुर्क साहब, पहले तो बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपके वक्त का। Thank you very much for, sir, your time. Palestinian issue is the key issue in international community. And since United Nations came into being to resolve such issues so that peace and stability can be maintained in international community. So what is exactly the status of Palestinians issue at this moment? What is going on in Gaza? Because international community either is focusing on the Ukrainian war, and even Pakistani media is engaged with the election situation in Pakistan.
Assalamu alaikum. Thanks a lot, brother, for giving me the opportunity to be your guest today. Actually, many of the people misunderstanding and think that Palestinian issue start on 7th of October. The start of Palestinian issue actually start within Balfour Declaration to the Jew to have a state on the land of Palestine in 1917. In that time, Palestine was part of Muslim Khilafah, Uthman's Khilafah, which means was not occupied by the British yet, because it was occupied by the British in 1918. Which means they're giving what does not own to the people who not deserve. Later on, in 1947, we get 181 resolution by United Nations to divide Palestine to two states, giving for Palestinian 43% of their own homeland, and giving for the Jew 56% of the Palestinian homeland. And they make the declaration of Balfour Declaration as part of that resolution, which means they make illegal declaration become legal and part of international resolution. According to that suffering of Palestinian of occupation, because the Israelis in 1948, they didn't satisfy with 56% of the land of Palestine, they occupied 78% of the land of Palestine. So after Palestinians in 1967, they occupied the rest of Palestine and some other extra land from the other Arab countries, neighbor countries for the state of Palestine. So, after the Palestinians suffering for long time for occupation, as Mr. Guterres, the Secretary General of United Nations, mentioned that what happened on 7th of October, it is a reaction of the Palestinians suffering for long years of occupation, of apartheid, suffering for long time. This is the reaction, not real action. This was a reaction of long suffering of the Palestinian people. What happened in the Western media, especially from the Americans media, they looking for what happened on 7th of October as a terrorist or act of terror, and looking for the reaction of Israelis as act of defense themselves. They speak about 1,200 Israelis killed on 7th of October and ignoring thousands of Palestinians killed since 1948 until now. And they are ignoring that the Israelis killed until now, as you mentioned in your introduction, about more than 30,000 Palestinians, injured to 70,000. More than 70% of them are children and women, Palestinians. And the Israelis still getting and defended by the Americans that they defend themselves. I don't know how you defend yourself by killing children, only children. So genocide is still continuing in Palestine, not since 7th of October, since 1948 until now. Ethnic cleansing still continue. Israel's plan is to having Palestine without people, to replace the Palestinians with more Zionist settlers, and Damish Aqsa Masjid to build and replace it with a Jewish temple, as he mentioned, it is Temple of Suleiman. This is the plans of Israel, to have Palestine, all of Palestine, without people, of Palestinian people, to become only for the Zionist people.
So that is the revival of the Eretz Israel, which was established by King David and later on King Solomon, the Suleiman alayhi salatu wasalam. You're absolutely right. We will come back on the issue of the response of the people of the West and the social media, because you talked about the media of United States of America that created misperception initially. But since Palestine has its own authority, which is a political authority, and we remember that Yasser Arafat put a tremendous effort for the liberation of the Palestine. In this regard, the situation that we are facing at this moment, it is not conflict now, it is not a crisis, but the war is going on. So to manage this war so that peace can be retained in that area, what Palestinian Authority is doing?
We still believe in peace. We still believe that two-state can be a solution. We accept to international resolutions in favor of Palestine. We accept to have two-state in our own historical homeland since 12,000 years until now, and give birth for the Israelis on our own homeland, only to get peace, not for only for us, for them as Israelis people, for the region and for the world. But the Israelis actually, their reaction is more criminal action against our people, more genocide, more attacked villages, cities, arrested more and more Palestinian people, destroyed more and more Palestinian houses, damaged everything. Even going to back again to the 7th of October, they even don't care about their people. We just speak about 1,200 Israelis killed on 7th of October. Actually, majority of that people was killed by Israel's army, not by Palestinian fighters' hand. Which means because according to Hannibal strategy which they are taking as technique, they believe that killed their people better than be hostage between Palestinian hands. So they like to have more bodies even from their people, better than getting more hostage between Palestinian people.
No, you are absolutely right. I mean, what Palestinian Authority is doing to stop this genocide by interacting with the international community or the Muslim countries through diplomacy, what they are doing?
We are in cooperation with our Muslim Ummah, with our Muslim countries, with our Arab countries, with the international society, working hard to have, as I mentioned to you, two-state solution, according to the peace plan was created by Arabs Summit in 2002. Later on, it's become a peace plan for Muslim Ummah, okay, which speak about very clear steps for getting peace in our country, getting peace and stability in our region, which speak very clearly. End the occupation. Second, establishing the state of Palestine with Jerusalem at its capital, according to the border of before 1967. Third, normalize the relationship between all Muslims and Arab countries and Israel, after getting the right of return for the Palestinian refugees to their own homelands, which are waiting for that right since 1948 until now. This is very clear step.
His Excellency.
So, Palestinians leadership until now work hard to end this genocide against our people, insist and cooperate all the international community, all the international organizations like United Nations, ICG, International Court, Criminal Court, all of them to work and end what the Israelis are doing, to reach peace for our people and for all the region. This is what our leadership doing hard. But on the other hand, until now, we don't find a real partner in the Israeli side for create peace. The only thinking of create more war.
Not
more
even
conflicts.
United States?
United States, actually, it is a different issue. Yeah, they speak about peace, they speak about stability, but on the other hand, they are blindly supporting the Israelis. Second, they speak about two states. Right now, they start in this 2 weeks before, speak about two-state solution, without mention what is the border of Palestinian state, what's going to be the other rights of Palestinians, how to end the occupation, when this is going to be start. There is no schedule. There is, as I mentioned, there is no borders for Palestinian state. No speak about Jerusalem as a capital of the state of Palestine. So what kind of peace we are speak about it? What kind of two-state solution we are speak about it? When we speak about the state of Palestine, we speak about the state of Palestine on West Bank, Gaza Strip, with Jerusalem as it is capital. This is how we are understand two-state solution. Or they need to go back a little bit to 181 resolution created by the United Nations in 1947, which give us 43% of the land of Palestine, with Jerusalem as part of our country, because it was, according to that according to that resolution, it was need to be under the international leadership, under United Nations control for 10 years. Okay, so this is the two solution. This is the borders.
Okay. नाजरीन, यहाँ पे छोटा सा ब्रेक लेते हैं. आप ब्रेक से पहले आपने ये सुना अच्छी तरह से कि वो चाहते हैं कि यूनाइटेड नेशन की 1967 की जो रेजोल्यूशन है उसके मुताबिक इसका मसला हल होना चाहिए और जेरूशलम उसका कैपिटल होना चाहिए. इससे सवाल ये पैदा होता है कि क्या हमास और फ़लस्तीन के लोग और मुस्लिम उम्मा के लोग और उसके साथ ख़ुद मगरिब के लोग क्या इस बात से इस वक्त एग्री करते हैं? इसका जवाब हम हिज एक्सीलेंसी से लेंगे ब्रेक के बाद. यहाँ पे लेते हैं एक छोटी सी ब्रेक. वेलकम बैक नाजरीन. वक्फे से पहले हिज एक्सीलेंसी बता रहे थे कि करंट स्टेटस क्या है फ़लस्तीन का. हिज एक्सीलेंसी, मे आई आस्क यू, हाउ कैन यू एक्सप्लेन द स्टेटस ऑफ Palestine and future plan of Israel through map, if you can educate our people?
Please, brother, just to understand that, we need to go a little bit for the history. This is the land of Palestine. 100% of the land was for the Palestinians before 1947. Later on, it was an idea to have, according to I mentioned before, the Balfour Declaration, to giving a homeland for the Jew in the land of Palestine by the British. The idea in 1937 to give 20% of Palestinian homeland to the Jew, to establish their own state of it, and keep 80% of the land to the Palestinians. Later on, in 181 resolution by United Nations, it became 43% of the land of Palestine for the Palestinians, 56% of the land for the Jew, and 1% going to be the holy places, Jerusalem, Bethlehem, going to be under the control of United Nations for 10 years. After that, the people of that areas going to decide which state going to follow, Palestinians or Zionist state. Israelis in the 1948 occupied 78% of the land. West Bank become under the Jordanian control. Gaza Strip was under the Egyptian control. East of Jerusalem, not all of Jerusalem, become under the Jordanian control, which means Aqsa Masjid was under the Jordanian control. Later on, in 2017, President Trump, he decided to give Palestinians only 12% of their own homeland by giving, according to the deal of the century, which he going with. But actually, what happened on the ground right now, Israelis in Gaza right now, when they are bombing everything, destroy schools, universities, hospitals, roads, infrastructure, they are planning to transfer people of Gaza outside of Gaza. If they succeed with that, they're going to transfer people of West Bank outside of West Bank. They're going to damage Aqsa Masjid to build a Jewish temple in replace Aqsa Masjid, to change it from Muslim holy place to become Jewish holy place.
Yeah, this is the same thing that Narendra Modi did in the case of Babri Mosque. Yes. So now Israelis, they have this intention. But now question is, why Israelis, they are doing this? What is their plan, future plan?
This is the future plan. If they succeed in that, they're going to looking, according to the Holy Book, in Talmud, they mention that the land of Israel from Nile River in Egypt to Al-Furat River in Turkey, Syria, and Iraq. So this is the map we're going to face later on if they succeed in that. They're going to control 100% of the land of Palestine, 100% of Lebanon, 100% of Jordan, 75% of Syria, 45% of Saudi Arabia, 100% of Kuwait, 45% of Iraq, 35% of Egypt. This is the plan of Israelis. So, if they succeed in their plan, and part of Turkey, of course, if they succeed in their plans in Gaza, this is going to be the future of our area.
His Excellency, if this is the case, and they are declaring their intention that they are going to establish a greater Israel, in that case, how is it possible that there can be a rapprochement, harmony of interest, normal relationship with the Muslim world, Israel and the Muslim world, especially the Abraham Accord, which intended to develop a cordial and normal relationship between the Muslim and Arab world and the Israel? Is it possible in that case if they have this plan?
According to Americans, everything is possible. But according to the realities on the ground, it is not happening in this way. Actually, the Abraham's agreements breaking the Muslims and Arabs' plan for peace. Because as I mentioned before, it was very clear. End occupation, first. Second, establishing state of Palestine with Jerusalem as its capital. Third step is right of return of Palestinians, refugees, according to 194 resolution, to their own homeland, which are waiting for activate this right since 1948 until now. The last step going to be Ibrahim Accord, or whatever you mean, that normalize the relationship between Arab countries, Muslim countries, and Israelis. Thus, if they are following the steps, that means this future of this map, we will not reach to this. But actually, they are trying to make step 4 and ignoring the first 3 steps to reach to this.
Now my question is, there is a misperception or perception in the international media and in the media of Pakistan as well, that there are certain differences between Hamas and the Palestinian Authority. Palestinian Authority is putting efforts to protect the Palestinian people and the land as well. So is it possible that there is a unity between these factions if this perception is right, or it is not right? And as you mentioned, that two-state solution, which is decided by the United Nations as per 1967 resolution, do you think the Palestinian people would agree with this resolution? One, the Muslim Ummah agree with this resolution, even the people of the West, because I mentioned in my introduction the surveys which are being conducted in United States of America, more than 51% they believe that Israeli occupation completely be ended and the whole land must be handed over to the Palestinians.
For Muslim Ummah, actually, according to the steps which I speak about it, about Muslim Ummah plan for peace, it is speak about two-state solution. So it is accepted by Muslim Ummah.
The government of Muslim Ummah or the people of Muslim Ummah?
We speak about the government. We speak in politics, we speak about the governments who are dealing with politics as the government, not the people. So, according to that, Arab countries, Muslim countries, I speak about government again, are agree of two-state solution according to the borders before 1967. We speak about 22% of the land of Palestine going for Palestinians, 78% of the land of Palestine going to Israelis. This is the plan. And right of return for Palestinian refugees to their own homes in the two areas. International community, international resolution follow the same agenda, following the same vision, two-state according to these borders. Americans in the last 2 weeks, as I mentioned, they start speaking about accept and recognize the state of Palestine, but without mention what kind of state is it? What is the border of that state? To 22% of the land, or 12%, as Mr. Trump said, according to the century, or 44% or 43% of the land, according to 181 resolution of United Nations 1947. So it is not clear by the Americans what kind of state they are speaking about. This is about the state.
Deliberately they are keeping this ambiguity?
Actually, because they are right now, there are plans only to, I think it is tricky. Okay, it is not real decision or honest steps by the Americans, because after this blindly support to Israelis, because actually right now in Palestine, right now, our people are killed by Americans' whipping. All the whippings which Israelis used to kill, to create genocide in Palestine, is Americans' whippings, Americans' bombs. Americans give Israelis every year $3.8 billion, okay, support them with whippings only for military aid by the Americans.
3.8 billion.
Since 1948 until now, the Americans support Israelis with $300 billion only as a military aid.
Oh my God.
Okay? Forget the financial, economical, and technology support to the Israelis.
If we compare this, the aid that they have given to Pakistan, it is not more than $100 billion. But you are saying $300 billion only military aid.
Yes. And right now they are speak about giving the Israelis $17.5 billion as military aid to continue their war against Palestine in Gaza. They speak about package for Ukraine, Taiwan, and Israel. This is what they are speaking about it. For their own plans to create more conflict, more problems around the world, to control the world, keep control of the world. This is their plans. Actually, when I speak here, we are need to see different story. The Americans people are protesting in the outside, in their streets, against the blind support of their leaders to the Israelis, against genocide, against killing innocent people in Gaza. On the other hand, the Americans' leadership said there is no genocide in Gaza. Okay? And they're ignoring the ICG resolution and still keeps there
The
is no
whole world
genocide.
is saying genocide. The United Nations Secretary General
Only
is saying
Americans, British, and some Western countries denied that it
officially.
is. I speak about officials. I
Officially,
speak
yeah.
about the
Okay,
governments.
okay.
Okay, speak there is no genocide. So, according to that, the as I mentioned before, even not like this, even daily, Israelis are receiving under the table military aid from the Americans by ships, airplane air bridge. Daily they get bombings and bombs from the Americans. And they have a strategic storehouse for the bombings for the Americans inside Israeli areas. Include about $2 billion of bombings, and it is open right now freely for the Israelis' hand to open it and use it against the Palestinians. One day before the ICG decision about genocide in Gaza, the Americans decide to support Israelis with F-35 airplane, helicopter, and more bombs.
This is very strange. I mean, it is a champion of democracy where the first enlightenment was experienced. They carry on their ideal interest to promote democracy and freedom and peace and tranquility in the world. But what they are doing in the Middle East has tarnished completely the American image. My next question is His Excellency. Since we are observing that the system, the international system, is being converted into multilateral system, where intergovernmental organizations are playing key role in international politics, such as SCO, BRICS, even United Nations, even European Union and ASEAN and Arab League and African League. In that case, how do you see the role of OIC? It is in fact critical in the case of Palestine because it was Palestinian issue on which OIC came into being. Are you satisfied with the efforts put by the OIC members to resolve the issue and to stop this genocide?
They try to do hard work, but usually I like to compare between two kinds of support. Americans give the Israelis $300 billion of bombings, opening their strategic storehouse of bombs and bombings and to give it to Israelis. Daily, the Israelis receive billions of dollars in bombings, bullets, and bombs to kill Palestinian people. Americans are ready to give them financial support openly for the Israelis to recover after this war and their economical losses. If we compare all of the, and they send their own air carrier 4 or 5 times since 1948 until now to support and defend Israelis. The last one was after 7th of October. This is Americans. If we compare this support with Muslims Ummah support to Palestine, is it equal?
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
This is first.
If you permit me, we have to take the break. हमें नाजरीन ब्रेक के लिए कहा जा रहा है, छोटी सी एक ब्रेक लेते हैं, वापस आते हैं तो हिज एक्सीलेंसी की बात को हम मुकम्मल करते हैं. वेलकम बैक नाजरीन, हिज एक्सीलेंसी बात कर रहे थे. जी एक्सीलेंसी, प्लीज कंटिन्यू योर आर्गुमेंट.
So, our Muslim Ummah, they have this plan of peace, but we need to insist Americans, British, Germans, and other Western countries are supporting blindly the Israelis in their genocide, in their war against Palestinians, and in delay the establishing of Palestinian state with Jerusalem as its capital. Insist them by soft diplomacy to do what they need to do, understand their duties as international member in our international society, to do what they need to do to end the Israelis' crimes against humanity in Palestine, end the genocide, end the ethnic cleansing, and facilitate the right of return of Palestinian refugees and establishing of Palestinian state with Jerusalem as capital. This is what we are requesting for our Muslim Ummah. More more strong diplomacy, soft diplomacy against these countries USA, first of all, to end their blind support to Israelis. Only we are looking for activate the international resolution, following and respect and obey the international law principles, human rights principles. I think this is very easy to be done. You are speak about democracy as Americans, and when you are reached to Palestine, you forget all democracy. You speak about the human rights principles. When you reach to Palestine, you ignore all of that. Their support to Ukraine, what happened in Ukraine right now, double standard. They support Ukraine against Russians. If Russians do what the Israelis do in Gaza right now, what's going to be the reaction of the Americans? So we need to end this once forever. We need to end this double standard to make all human beings enjoy peace, stability, and respect all human beings in equal way, because we are all equal. We all deserve to live in love, peace, and stability.
Being a student of international politics, I have observed in the history that such movements are not successful if you are not balancing the power. For instance, American, they got independence because the French, they balanced the power of the Britain. Angola got independence because the Cubans, they came into the crisis and they balanced the power of the opponent. So how do you see that the Israeli power, which is very stronger in terms of military strength as compared to the Palestinians, they would accept your demand? Because the soft diplomacy, though it has many achievements, in the case of Palestine, we saw many resolutions came in UN Security Council, but they were vetoed. There was a resolution in UN General Assembly. It does not have accept moral obligation. It is not obligation for the member states to take action. So how do you see this soft diplomacy that would work and to help Palestinians to resolve the issue and to get their independent states? Still, you have a trust on international system?
I trust not international system, I trust humanity.
Okay.
When I see the people of European countries, Western countries, include Americans, in the street protesting against their own leaders in favor of Palestine, I still trust the humanity. Their position completely different of their leaders. Their leaders supporting Israelis, but on the other hand, their people supporting the Palestinians. So I still believe in humanity. Second, how soft diplomacy can be work. If the Americans stop using veto in favor of Israel and to defend them in the United Nations and stop supply bombs and weapons for the Israelis, Israel is going to follow the international law. They're going to be forced by power to follow the international law. This is very important. Right now, we see on the ground very clear. Israelis get aid, military aid, $300 billion. With that, they couldn't defend themselves on the 7th of October against very few Palestinian fighters cross the borders, attack their army camps, killed some Israeli army, hostage some of them, and take them back to Gaza, which means the military power didn't give stability and peace for anyone. It is not enough. Peace, justice, following the international law, following the rules of humanity, following the rules of international law, rules and principles of human rights. This is only, and respects all the parties, all the neighbors around you. This is give you the power to have peace and stability, not only your military power. Military power only to give you, defend yourself, but not to occupy other people, territories, and their homeland.
The Kashmiri people, they are facing the same atrocities and genocide as the Palestinians in the case of Israel. And one of a very important book which has been published recently, The Palestine, the Laboratory, in which they have documented that within 10 years India is a big purchaser of method of occupation from Israel, the equipment of surveillance and weapon system. They are establishing new settlements in Kashmir. And even they are sending their people to fight against the Palestinians. Many Indian soldiers are killed there in Gaza. How do you see the role of India from supporting Palestine to now anti-Palestine and pro-Israel under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi?
First of all, India was one of our great supporters before, during Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi. After that, it was some changes. Because, you know, according to Winston Churchill, he said, there is no enemies forever, there is no friends forever. There is interest forever. So, as Muslim Ummah, we need to use that technique wisely, strongly, to build bridge of interest between all the nations. We have the power. We are very rich ummah. We have a very full by all natural resources, full of money, full of treasures, full of gold, full of everything everyone is looking for. So we need to use our resources, and we have a very good educated people needed everywhere. So we need to use our resources wisely, strongly, to build bridge of peace and stability between all the nations, in favor of Muslim Ummah, in favor of Palestine as Muslim Ummah issue, not as a Palestinian issue only. So this is what we are needed actually.
You're absolutely right. But I mean, the same atrocities are going on in Kashmir. What message would you like to give the people of Pakistan regarding the issue of Palestine and regarding the issue of Kashmir? Because these are more or less the similar issues. Both are the long-standing issues in the United Nations. Resolutions are passed, but those resolutions are not being observed, unfortunately. So what message would you like to give the Pakistan?
Same message which I give it to all my people, that we need to follow international law, international resolution. We need to use strong diplomacy, negotiation, to build better future for the next generation of our people, all the nations. This is what the message for Palestinian, for Indian, for Pakistani, for all the nations around the world. Respect the international law, respect the international resolution, respect human rights principles, because this is the only way to getting peace and stability for this generation and next generation. This is the future. Because we don't need to keep going from circle of blood to next circle of blood, circle of violence to next circle of violence. What we are needed actually is getting better future for the next generation, full of stability, development, rich, wealth, and health for all the next generation. This is what we are looking for. So the international law is a solution for everything.
Thank you very much for your time, Excellency. You have very comprehensively explained the issue of Palestine, the reaction of the international community, your expectation from the international system and international institution, and in the end, you gave a wonderful message to the people of Pakistan, the people of Palestine, the people of Kashmir. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, brother. Pakistan's in the bad, Palestine's in the bad. One day soon, inshallah, as Muslims, we will, Pakistani brothers, we will hand by hand going to pray together in Aqsa Masjid as Qibla Awwal for all Muslim Ummah. And for our brother and sister Christian people, they have the opportunity to pray in the most holy churches in the world in Palestine. Palestine's in bad, Pakistan's in the bad. All the best for the two brotherly people and all for all Muslim Ummah and for all the humanity.
नाज़रीन, आपने हिज एक्सीलेंसी नादिर अल तुर्क साहब की गुफ्तगू सुनी। उन्होंने बहुत वजाहत के साथ बयान किया कि इस वक्त फ़लस्तीन के अंदर क्या सिचुएशन है और इसमें इंटरनेशनल कम्युनिटी का क्या किरदार है, स्पेशली अमेरिका का और मगरिब का। मुस्लिम उम्मा के जो इदारे हैं OIC, उनसे उनकी क्या एक्सपेक्टेशंस हैं और बैनुल-अक़वामी इदारों से और बाद में एक मुमासलत को खींचने की हमने कोशिश की जो फ़लस्तीन और कश्मीर के दरमियान में है। और आखिर में उन्होंने बहुत खूबसूरत मैसेज दिया पाकिस्तानियों को, फ़लस्तीन की आवाम को, कश्मीर की आवाम को, कि हमें बैनुल-अक़वामी कानून के इज़्ज़त एहतराम करते हुए जो बैनुल-अक़वामी कवानीन के तहत अक़वाम मुत्तहिदा में जो करारदादें पास की गई हैं उन्हें ऑब्ज़र्व किया जाए, ताकि दुनिया के अंदर अमन, खुशहाली, भाईचारा पैदा हो। और उन्होंने आखिर में ये नेक तमन्नाएँ भी की कि इंशाअल्लाह वो वक्त करीब है जब हम सब मिल के आप पाकिस्तानियों के साथ मस्जिद उल अक़सा में नमाज़ अदा करेंगे, इबादत करेंगे। इंशाअल्लाह इस नाचीज़ को इजाज़त दीजिए। अल्लाह हाफ़िज़।